What's up, guys? Sean back with you guys, and today I want to go over my fantasy football draft with you guys. I'm going to let you guys in on my mindset on what I was thinking as the draft was going on. I'm going to kind of touch base on a couple people's picks and a couple different picks that I've made. Touch base on in terms of how I think the draft went, how I think everybody's teams kind of fared, and just kind of touch base on all that stuff with you guys. So without further ado, let me pull up a picture of the draft board and kind of give you guys some breakdown on what happened.
All right, so taking a look at the draft here. Let's get right into it and just start from the top here. So David Johnson goes number 1 overall. I would have went with Le'Veon Bell, but we pretty much knew from every mock draft I had done and from, everything I had read and, basically just kind of looking at everything. This was a 3-person draft. So we kind of knew Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and David Johnson were going to be the top 3. And I was okay with that. I figured that was what was happening. I kind of wanted to be in those top 3 picks there. I wanted one of those guys. Unfortunately, luck of the draw had me go to 8 in a 12-man team league. So anyways, the top 3 go off the board there in the order. I would have said Bell first, then Johnson, but either way, Johnson's still a great pick there. I mean, he's obviously the top back with Bell. And then Brown, I think you kind of have to take at 3. Then we go with Jones, Beckham, McCoy, and Gordon, which leaves me in a position where I didn't really love anybody that was left on the board at the draft spot I was supposed to take them at. You're talking about guys like Freeman, Nelson, Howard, Evans. These are guys that are at the spot that I'm in here. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Mike Evans a lot. I think Mike Evans is going to have a great year this year, actually. But our league is set up that it's 12-team, half a point PPR. You only start 2 receivers and 1 flex player. So what ends up happening is the wide receivers in our league end up being so weak in the sense that, I'm sorry, not weak, I should say they're strong in the sense that you can pick up a free agent wide receiver any given week that's going to score you between 9 and 11 points. Running backs are damn near impossible to come by. So I pretty much made up my mind I had to go running back with the first 2 picks at least. And so I pick up Jay Ajayi here just because I think he had the best potential of what was left. If I didn't go with him in this spot, I would have considered Evans, but I really wanted to avoid getting a receiver because I knew running backs were key. So I really felt like I had to take Ajayi here. I really wanted Gordon. I was hoping Melvin Gordon was going to fall to me, or I was hoping Beckham would fall to me. Now, I didn't want a receiver, but I think Beckham's going to have a huge year this year, so I really did want Beckham. But anyways, I ended up going with Ajayi. My other consideration here with what was left was either Gurley, who went right after me, or possibly Evans. Those were my really only considerations at that spot. Now we go a little bit further. We've got Brady going in the first round, which was very interesting. I think Brady's going to have a fall-off year this year. He's 40 years old, and he's on the Madden cover, so there's the Madden curse going there. But anyways, I digress. When it comes to my next pick, obviously it's a snake draft, so we're going around here. DeMarco Murray goes right before I went. I was thinking about taking DeMarco if he was there. Once he went off the board, I was kind of looking at some guys I didn't love that were kind of at the top. And I thought it was a good spot to grab Ezekiel Elliott because you get a potential top 5 guy, top 3 guy, had he not been suspended, and you get him with the second round. So I thought that was a really good pick. I was happy with it. So I grabbed him. Then we move along a little bit, and I like Baldwin. I like Cooper. Now, coming back around, this third round is where things kind of got a little off for me. All of a sudden, I'm thinking in my head, all right, I might grab Baldwin or Cooper. Maybe I'll get Kareem Hunt, McCaffrey. I like Dalvin Cook, considered T.Y. Hilton. All of these guys I really liked, and I was thinking about getting. I would have even considered a Rodgers or Miller and Montgomery. Literally every person that went off the board, starting at about Doug Baldwin, I would have taken, I liked. And literally by the time it got to my pick, what was left at the top of the board, if you look at everything that went after me, Marshawn Lynch, DeAndre Hopkins, Ingram, Crowell, Robinson, Hyde, Kelly, Jeffrey, Powell, Pryor, Mixon. I didn't like any of these guys, and I liked everybody that went before me. This third round, I couldn't believe it. It was like insane. Everybody that I liked, McCaffrey, Hunt, all these guys, I liked them. I wanted to take them. So when it got to me in the third round, I kind of reached for Amir Abdullah here. Reason being, I think Abdullah is going to have a great year this year. And even though I reached for him, I didn't like anybody that was left. I didn't like the guys at the top. I'd rather reach for an Abdullah than pick somebody like Lynch, Ingram, Crowell, Hyde, Kelly, who's ranked above Abdullah. I'd rather just go get the guy I want and not worry about who I'm supposed to take at this spot. So this was the first of many reaches for me in this draft. I grabbed Abdullah here. Obviously going down here, we got Lynch, Hopkins, Ingram, Crowell. Comes around to my next pick, and I ended up taking Zach Ertz. Now, this pick particularly, I grabbed him over quite a few tight ends that were still available. Obviously, I made Ertz the second tight end off the board. I think Ertz is going to have a big year this year. And I reached for him, especially because this is a Philadelphia draft, and it tends to be Philadelphia players go pretty high in these drafts with my friends here because we are a Philadelphia-based league. And I do think Zach Ertz is going to have a big year this year, so I really liked him. So again, I grabbed him at this spot here. And coming back around, we go to, I got Parker here. I picked up Devonta Parker, and I think he's going to have a big year with Jay Cutler being over there. So, I picked him up. I was happy with that pick there. We roll down a little bit further here, and let's see, we are at round 7. Oh, sorry, we're at round 6 actually. And so at this spot here, I ended up taking Darren McFadden because I didn't want to miss out on him in case Elliott suspension holds up, and I didn't want to be stuck not having a starting back in case Abdullah doesn't do a lot or in case Abdullah splits too much time with Riddick. I really wanted to make sure to get a starting back here, so I went ahead and picked up McFadden in this spot. Even if it was a bit early, I wanted to make sure to get him, and again, that's more important to me than where somebody is supposed to go. In the 7th round, I took Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry has a lot of potential this year. Not only do I think he's actually going to get a lot more carries than he got last year, I also think that Derrick Henry could potentially start. DeMarco Murray's been an injury risk his whole entire year. His whole entire career, sorry. And I think Derrick Henry has a great chance here. If he gets hurt, wow, Derrick Henry could end up being a huge pick there for me. Now, coming back around on the 8th round here particularly, I kind of screwed up here, and I wasn't thrilled with this pick. I grabbed Stafford, and I like Stafford in fantasy, but in hindsight, I probably should have went with either Winston or Carr, because I think Winston and Carr are going to have big years this year, and I'm not sure what made me grab Stafford other than a couple of the applications I was using to kind of rank players had Stafford ranked well above those guys. So I grabbed Stafford here, but in hindsight, I kind of wish that I had went with Carr and then maybe Winston after Carr, or Winston and then Carr, one of those. So then scrolling back around here, Coleman, I take Corey Coleman here, and he is the starting receiver for the Browns, so I think he's going to do pretty well this year. And then on the way back around, I grab Eli Manning just to be on the safe side, just to make sure that I have a backup quarterback in case Stafford doesn't perform as well as I think he might. I still have Eli. Coming back around again here, I actually wanted to grab Wendell Smallwood in the 11th round, but he went before I had the chance. My buddy Max grabbed him. So I went with Cole Beasley. I think Cole Beasley is a pretty good receiver out of the slot for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak seems to like him a lot. So I grabbed Cole Beasley here. Coming back around on the other end, I grabbed Andrew Luck because Andrew Luck was still there in the 12th round. Now I know he's got some injury concerns this year, but in the 12th round, I mean, you're just grabbing people for potential. And if Andrew Luck can come back healthy, kind of like Tom Brady slipped a lot the one year he was suspended 4 games. In my draft particularly, I think he went in like the 9th or 10th round. And that guy ended up with a steal because Brady had a killer year. And so I kind of saw that happening again with Luck, and I just wanted to scoop him up there and take a flyer on him. Coming back around in the following round, I grabbed Giovanni Bernard. Again, I don't know what kind of looks he's going to get with Mixon and Hill being in the backfield, but again, it's late. You take a flyer on a guy, so I picked him up. He can usually catch some balls out of the backfield, and it is 0.5 PPR. Then I went with Cooper Kupp here in the 14th round. I do like Kupp. I think he's going to get a lot of work out of the slot, and it seems as though that Goff is getting a nice rapport with him. Then I just went with Lutz and the Buccaneers defense. Of course, you wait for the end to sort of take them. Now, when I looked at all the teams initially, I like my team. I also like Lane's team. I think Lane's team might end up being the best. I mean, he's got starting lineup of Bell, Hunt, Baldwin, Benjamin, Ryan, Bennett. That's pretty solid. He lacks a little bit of depth, so if he has any kind of injury concerns or anything, he might have some trouble. But I like Lane's team probably the best of everybody's teams here. Other than his team, it's kind of tough to single anybody out particularly that I like. I'm looking at the teams again, and nobody really stands out really other than Lane's team to me. I think Drew has a pretty solid team as well. I think part of my problem with some of the other teams is just their running back depth. Like, I think Nick has great receivers, but running back wise, I like McCaffrey, but what's he going to be? Is he going to be an every down back or not? Is he going to be hurt? I don't really care for Kelly or Gore. So I think Nick has concerns there. Drew has a nice squad. I mean, Yahoo gave Drew the best draft. So he's got David Johnson. I like him. I like Cooper. I like Rodgers. Allen Robinson's a decent player. You look at C.J. Anderson, and I don't really love him, but hey, it's an okay pick. He could be a solid back. Kyle Rudolph's a decent tight end. Martavis Bryant could be nice. Blunt, if he actually performs and doesn't get benched, but for Smallwood could be decent. Macklin on a new team. I mean, he's got potential here for sure on his team. I think Drew could have a really good squad, but we'll have to see. So I'd have to say maybe between Drew and Lane, maybe as the best squad. So definitely, you could see this year that where you picked really made a huge difference. And if you picked it in top three, you were kind of able to secure a really nice team. And if you picked on the back end this year particularly, it seemed like it was a lot harder for you to get a good team. Now, everybody ripped me for the Zach Ertz pick, and I had to put this in the video because I said that I would remember this for next year. Everybody ripped me for the Zach Ertz pick, said I reached and that it was a crazy pick, and they ripped me for the Abdullah pick as well. So I kind of got ripped for both of those picks, and I wanted to put that in there only because they mercilessly ripped me for 2 rounds with those 2 picks. So if those guys end up being really good, it could be a ha-ha to them. If they don't, then of course it's, wow, I look like an idiot reaching for these guys. But either way, it'll be curious to see how the season goes and what happens. And so anyways, that was my review of my draft. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.